G'day everybody and welcome back to the Hardball Gets AFL show. Today on the pod, it's the mailbag out of Gather Round. If you want to send us your voice memos or questions, follow us on Instagram at Hardball Gets AFL. All right, let's get stuck in.
This episode is brought to you by Woodside Energy, a proud major sponsor of the Fremantle Football Club, supporting local footy from grassroots to greatness.
My name is Nick Ryan, joined by Ryan Daniels and Xavier Ellis. This is the mailbag. Let's do it.
Oh, yeah, let's get straight
Wait, come on, wait, pick it up, mate.
No, normally you do your thing and then you threw me off. Okay, Clarkey, we're going to go straight in. Do you think the relationship between Simo and Sam Mitchell was so good, Sam waited until Simo was no longer in the chair before he leveraged his relationships within Eagles to build the team he wants? Well, no, I think he had the Barras interview while Simo was still there.
Yeah, I think.
Wasn't he?
Surely he
What's
had
the
to.
question?
Does he wait for Simo to leave before poaching his players?
Was Sam Mitchell waiting for Simo to go?
No.
Do you see the West Coast guys getting stuck in a Mitchell at Adelaide Oval?
The
Come
fans?
up.
Oh, yeah. Poach our captain. I was like, mate, don't say it. Just poach away.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's doing West Coast a favour.
Let's go to Scarpsy. It's a voice message.
Hey boys, just quickly wanted to get your thoughts on Isaiah Dudley being the sub. I think it was a really bad choice for JL just to have him as a fall guy when he's been playing really well. He obviously has his favourites, and I just don't think it's the way to go, if we're going to try and play in the finals.
I think
I think he was a fall guy. They just like Switkowski.
Well, I think as we were saying about his favourites, Switkowski's in the leadership group. He does what he does very well. He had a quiet game, Sam Switkowski. I was a bit flat too. I really wanted to see Isaiah Dudley play the whole game.
As a defender,
yeah,
I'm less twitchy playing on a player like Switkowski than I am Dudley.
Yeah,
Dudley can have 4 kicks and put the game and do 4 amazing things with 4 goals, or 3 kicks, 3 goals, or a crumb that I'm just far more anxious with the small forward who just roams around the 50 and you think, oh, this is going to end badly for me.
Freo fans, Longmuir just cops it. Like they win by a ton. And it's like, hey, you got the sub wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, they're on him. Stefan, hey guys, I feel like the club, not sure which club it is yet, has been extremely open with what this year is about, exploring the list and have directly said there will be pain. I'm guessing West Coast.
West Coast.
Unsure why there's so much outrage. What changes do people want, given it's basically a brand new administration with a shit list? In my opinion, this is a list issue, not a coaching issue. P.S. Should we trade our 2 first-rounders for Null? Cheers, Stefan.
Just quickly, the first bit, it's an inherited issue for Andrew McQualter,
Yes.
and the queue was over the next 5 or 6
And people
years.
get angry because their team sucks.
To be fair on the Null,
Here we go.
my kids just went and watched Gout.
Yeah.
And
Not the same thing.
on the Waffle site,
Yeah.
it says 2021 pre-season draft, Swan District's footballer, Null. Now, I was not prepared to
He's
just
on the line.
leave it, but why would it be there?
Because who was...
Well, you're doing work with the Waffle now. Nick, can you get to the
Yeah,
bottom of
that'd
this?
just be someone who's been
What's
stripped.
happened?
They've been stripped from the database.
What's happened? Who got
Whoever-
stripped from the database?
I don't know. Was it Dale
to
Garland or
allow
someone?
Our man Xavier
Nah.
Ellis to get so tricked.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Hoodwinked.
We'll do some research.
Okay, Digby.
But why Null?
Because there's Null. It's
I know
searching
Null.
for...
First name's Null and the second
Yeah,
name's
the
Null.
last
It's
name's
searching
Null.
So they
for-
need to have a space.
Searching the database for
Yeah.
the
No, I
names.
get Null. I'm not an idiot on that, but I thought Null was the confusing part.
Digby.
I tell you what,
Hold
if
on,
there's a
let
kid
me-
running around anywhere called Null in the world,
Hit us up.
please. Did you get drafted in 2021 from Swan Districts?
I don't think so. Okay, let me throw to Digby.
G'day boys. A lot of chat recently about talent coming out of WA. How's down Curtin going for the Crows? He's getting games now, but where's he playing his best footy? And what about his brother? Where's he going to get drafted?
Oh, okay. We'll let Zave talk about Dan because he hates him. So
No, that's incorrect.
you want
He's
to bury Dan here? Or?
No, he's a Claremont man.
Okay.
A big fan of Dan Curtin. I'm just worried that he was drafted as a centre half back and they've already given up on that.
Yeah.
As
But
a
he
centre
played
half back.
mid
Yeah,
in
we
his
mid and
draft
played
year as well.
Well, yeah, but
Didn't play much forward.
Predominantly holding down the back line for the Colts. Like he was a good, strong, dependable defender.
Yeah, that was his bottom age year.
Was it
His
17,
draft year, he played mid in the Colts.
All year.
Yeah, pretty much.
What about when he went up to the seniors?
I can't remember the senior games.
Anyway.
What's his brother's name
Brother
again?
Cody.
Yeah, and he's a forward, and he's
He's a
going
forward
really
starter.
well.
He kicked 6 in a preseason game and then 5 in the first round of the Colts. I don't know what he did. He played for the AFL Academy on the weekend.
What's
I'm not
his
sure what he did.
range? Do you know? Have you gone into that space
top
yet?
20. I don't know. I got to dive into it a little bit deeper, but I saw someone, Dylan follows draft, Dylan Alexander, who didn't have him in the top 10.
Okay.
But he'd be first rounder.
And so Dale Thomas is huge on Dan Curtin. He put him down as winning the Rising Star this year on your Sunday Rub.
Did he?
Show, yeah.
right.
So he's huge on that.
Oh, I think it was on that
But
episode.
five disposals, 97 minutes. He's a young kid and he's playing out of position.
Yeah, he's playing
don't-
forward. He's kicked a few goals.
Yeah.
But he's not knocking the door down. You know,
And
he's in the Logan McDonald. I'm not convinced.
And they can't.
Man
They
might be good. I'm not.
They
I'd
can't
still be
run with
buying.
that many tools.
No, I'd be buying shares.
I'm not buying.
yeah.
I'm just sitting.
Okay. Stephen, how do O'Meara and Taranto get fined for careless contact with an umpire? However, Jaden Short almost knocks out an umpire, and the MRO determined Short's actions in the collision were not careless enough to warrant a sanction and got off without a fine. Understanding the MRO's decision-making is becoming impossible. That
That's a
was
very
in the
good
game
point.
I was calling for Triple M, and because you have the mics on the
Yeah.
umpires, I thought he was dead.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you should have heard the
moaning.
breathing. In the background, I was like, who's dying out there? And it took me a while to figure out it was the umpire. I can't believe he survived. And two, Short did not get a fine.
But
He
how
ran
did,
through
Short,
it.
how did Short not avoid him? Like it was
Rhino heard moaning in his head. Right? He thought his phone
His
had just
phone
connected
was-
to Bluetooth.
the old trip to the Barossa. But Short too, like he took off. It wasn't like the ball went in the air and they turned and just.
Yeah,
full
no,
on.
you just ran into
Short
it.
was running.
Yeah.
He ran straight into it.
Yeah, weird.
It was
Anyway.
really strange.
Did that umpire keep going?
Yeah, he came back.
Came back. He went off for a bit.
Yeah, I knew
And
he
then
was
Here's
off.
the other thing. I thought we
Yeah.
said there was an emergency. Where's the emergency?
This is Stuart Osborne. I think it was because gather around the shorter numbers. Gents, as a footy nuffy now living in Sydney, I thought it'd be useful to point out the nonsense of the stated logic behind opening round. Let's look at what happens following round 0 for the Sydney teams. The Swans play at home in opening round and round 1. Then don't play at home again for 5 weeks. Nada between 15th of March and 20th of April. For the Giants, a home game in opening round, another in round 4, and then a home game in Canberra in round 7. The next home game in Sydney is in round 10. So in the first 9 rounds, the Giants play at home in Sydney twice. If there was any logic to the AFL's contention, the opening round is to promote the game north of the Vic border, surely you would look to capitalise on that momentum and not send them away for 5 weeks, or in the Giants' case, play 2 games in their heartland in what is almost the first half of the season. Doesn't strike me as the way to grow the game in the Sydney market. Time for the AFL to call it what it is, a failed experiment. Let's get back to some sensible fixturing. It's compromised enough without adding more nonsense. Loves the pod.
Agree.
To be honest with
Completely
you,
agree.
to fix the problem, they just need more academy picks.
Yeah, that'll do them.
Just
And
more,
Gold Coast,
more,
so you're at it.
An extra
more
academy.
free Gouldens, more
second
free
academy.
Heenies, just more of everything.
Yeah, get a second academy.
Yeah.
One
Second
that's
academy.
maybe in Victoria or
No,
something as well.
an academy or it's
Oh,
Australia-wide.
they'll
And
give Sydney WA and then the Brisbane
Yeah.
teams get South
just
Australia.
an Australia-wide academy where they just get to have a free pick.
Yeah.
Of anyone.
They get the first 5
Just
Yeah.
whatever they want.
It's a wild
on
card.
each.
Yeah, and you can have 60 on your list too, and have $1 million extra cola in your bank account.
They get a draw for Uno card, gives them 4 draft
Sorry,
picks.
Stu.
whenever
These
you don't
guys
wanna-
have gotten really mean there all of a sudden. Alex, there's a voice message.
Hey boys, absolutely love the pod. Speaking of C graders, is Brisbane C graders some of the best C graders in the comp?
I like that.
Maybe their C graders are actually B minuses too.
Didn't the
Maybe.
C grade
Is
video
he talking
get a bit
about,
of
like-
traction? The Carlton
Oh, yeah.
fans were fine, and then they won, and then
they got
suddenly
angry.
the comments got angry. Oh, yeah, you guys are C graders.
I didn't say
He's
it
a
got
bloody
real- it
C
got real
grader.
messy.
Who's this idiot?
Yeah,
All that stuff.
was
we love it.
until they won. They were very quiet until
did
they
gain
won
momentum.
against the West Coast Eagles. Mind you.
Yeah.
But
What-
yeah,
what-
maybe we think about like Ainsworth.
Ainsworth,
Yeah.
Archie.
Like
yeah,
those
mate,
sort
they're,
of
they're
dudes,
right. Yeah.
Leicester and those guys. I don't think
Yeah.
they're C graders. I think they're probably
We're the edging B.
very, very reliable football.
They are
Yeah.
C's, but they played a B minus.
They're a Brisbane.
very
I think he's
reliable.
right. They're a Brisbane C. They're a B elsewhere.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good point. Max, lads, who wins in a sprint? Gout on the track or Max Holmes out of the centre square with ball in hand?
Go.
Did you even go watch
Yeah.
Gack out on the weekend?
I've
I
seen.
wasn't here, but
My
I
kids
watched the
went.
clips. Yeah, I saw your clip. Yeah, it's good, fun.
Wow, we had
The track's taken off.
Ted got a high five. Gack missed Albie's hand.
No, devastation.
Oh, tantrums.
Oh,
Uh,
you'll never forget that.
And that was
well,
just from
I'm
him.
thinking radio content. I might
Yeah.
go fly
Go call him.
Albie to Sydney or Brisbane for a Gack
For a high five.
Go
I
out
love
to
that.
Ipswich.
Connor, boys, question for the pod. As a long-time listener and dog supporter, thoughts on whether or not the Dogs should persist with the Jamara situation and bring him back into the fold in the pursuit of what may be the most talented tall forward lineup in the history of the club, hoping they can have Jamara hit his peak as the second banana alongside Darcy. The alternative is to trade him out for the pursuit of a big dog inside mid to future-proof the eventual loss of Treloar and Libba. My guess is the Dogs offer the world and some to Zach Butters to bring him home and play with his childhood hero, the Bont. Either way, the Dogs must avoid a Bailey Smith-style result at all costs and cannot lose a Jamara-level talent for unders. My guess is we will field offers from suitors, but if nothing worthwhile comes our way, the Dogs will make him stay as he's in contract. Club will avoid receiving unders at all costs. Anything less than a top 10 pick or its equivalent would be devastating. Love the pod. Was almost devastated when I didn't see a pod released right up until the eve of the season. Worried that the highlight of my week wouldn't be returning for season 2025. Love your work. But we are back.
What's
In a big
Jamara's
way.
value?
We made that. Well, they got him for unders. He was speaking of academies.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it for free.
But what's his value now?
It's a very good question. We don't know what he's.
Well, he's damaged.
But like,
What
what's
is-
the,
what's
what's
a
the point?
damaged asset.
What's the point of
Have
keeping
you
him
seen
to
that
his
guy
own
on?
play?
Is he on TikTok? He doesn't. Everybody does the stretching at his house.
Clary's one. I've seen Clayton Oliver's.
Scott Pendlebury goes there.
Pendles.
And they just do like stretching.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I have seen that.
What's his
It's-
name?
it's-
Shout out.
nah,
Send me a
it's in-
DM if you know what his
You
name
should
is.
do a
with
video with that in the background and then you just talking about how Calamachi is
Mate, I'm a
like
big Calamachi
secretly the
fan.
best C grader in the
He's the
AFL.
best. Mate. So hang on. Let me write that. Let me just write this down.
Content
Don't.
ideas. So you reckon keep Jamara or
I'd move on.
time to move on?
Sam Darcy's the man now.
Yeah, but just get
But
something.
I
You
don't
got to
know
get
what you
something
get.
back for
I
him.
don't know what you get.
Brandon, hey team, question for the mailbag. When is it okay to switch teams you support? Richmond fan who feels a bit gross about the Noah Bolter stuff.
Richmond fan. Oh,
That's very much on the fence.
I thought I was going to complain about how bad they're going, mate. You just
I
want
was,
three
that's what I was
flags.
saying. I was about to load up too.
Jesus.
So come on.
I will say this, Brandon. If you're going to change teams every time a player on your list does something you don't agree with,
I
you're
think
going to
it's-
be changing teams.
I
a
think
bit.
he's more talking about how they've been so wishy-washy with it.
No, I think he's talking about the actual salt.
Oh, he's talking about the actual salt?
Well,
I would be more concerned with how the club has
Yeah, no, I think
approached
he's
it.
talking about the
either.
the
Yeah,
Okay,
whatever
well
it
then, yeah.
is. I think
Whatever. Well, come on, Gold Coast. Come to the Gold Coast.
it's a Noah Bolter issue. It's not like the Richmond Football Club. You've probably been a supporter for a very long time. They're going to be around for a very long time. I think you have
But
to.
to answer your question, Tassie coming in is the right time.
That's
you
the only
can
time
change.
you can exit.
You can do it. You can make a clean exit.
Or you
Yeah.
can be
Find some kind of connection with the Apple Isle.
You'd have to have You have to have Tasmanian in your.
Well, this is what you can find a connection somewhere.
not in Tassie. He has a connection to Tassie.
Well, my sister lives in Hobart. He listens to this podcast. My sister lives in Hobart. He's a Tasmanian supporter.
The unless also
He's going to be such a nuffy for Tassie.
unless also you're my mate who said if they trade pick
Oh,
3
yeah, you're
West
out.
Coast, he's going to write them a
Yeah,
letter.
you
and
could
leave.
draw in a line
Did
in
he
the
do it?
sand.
He wrote it. Yeah, yes, gone. Cancelled membership I think at the Giants
So
and
who's
a,
he-
and a Giants supporter.
Oh, he's
So
a
you-
Giant supporter now.
You can have your line in the sand moment.
Yeah, that was it. That was
Yeah.
it for him.
Was that
Yeah.
the case? Did they have the good KO deal this year, the Giants?
No, I think that loophole got shut.
No,
What
it's
I-
still there.
Oh,
You
okay.
can still save.
What I will
100 or
say
so.
is it's probably easier to draw a line when your team is going really shit.
Shit, yeah.
Oh yeah.
JD, I'm writing to ask why no one at AFL House seems to care about the statistical inconsistencies being written into the record books by the insufficient intent rule. Did you know when a player kicks the ball out on the full, no free kick is awarded against the player? However, for insufficient intent, a free kick is recorded against the player. Furthermore, when insufficient intent is given away, a player has 2 clangers put against their name for 1 kick. The only action in football that can give a player 2 clangers. Champion Data are aware of this and have done nothing about it. Probably a conspiracy in that. Anyway, why does no one seem to care about the integrity of the AFL's data? P.S. I am not a crackpot.
No, and you can add that, and I agree with all that. You can also add to So Ryan Marrick for West Coast had 21 kick-in play-ons the last 2 weeks. He's had 10 other disposals
weren't
each
counted.
game. It comes through at 21 disposals. He's actually had 10.
Did you
Those
see-
kick-ins, yeah, I saw the
Says-
one where
you saw
he-
the vision?
That was bullshit. That pissed me off.
So anyone
you
who
cannot
hasn't
have a
seen
stat
it,
for that. And
He literally takes a step out
And then goes
takes
straight.
straight out.
yeah, nah,
So this coming from a man who
That-
kicked
that is
out a bit over the
clearly-
journey.
I never did that. We never
No,
had that.
No, this is what I'm saying.
No,
You-
but like
you-
James
you-
Sicily's, he could do it. And
This
he's
is
like,
where
you
the
should
fires
not
come from.
Okay, hold on,
get
hold
a
on.
stat
Hold on.
for that.
Let me ask you this. When you were playing, if it was as simple to just run out and you got a stat and you were taking a kick in, you would have
Hand on heart, it wouldn't worry me. If it was easier to hit a target by not putting my foot to the side and then trying to straighten up and then trying to hit a target,
Yep.
I think playing at a reasonably good team, I'd be happy enough just getting the ball out of defence.
Okay. All right, just checking.
Here he comes.
Ben, with Voss getting 3 weeks, which, what day is it today?
Today's
Wednesday.
And
No,
the
today's-
tribunal is tonight.
Yeah.
no, let's be
Hold on.
honest.
Last night? What
Today's Tuesday. Today's Tuesday. We're recording a day late.
What are you
so we're
talking
not
about?
Okay, they're fighting it too.
Yeah.
They're fighting.
We're actually doing the mailbag on a Tuesday for once.
Yeah, they're fighting.
I mean,
we always
again.
say we do mailbag on Tuesdays. They are fighting the charge, so we'll see where it goes. Is it time to get Amos around the footy as the backup ruck?
Oh yeah, well
That's
there
what I
we go.
wrote today. Get him up.
Really?
Just give him some time around the
Backup
footy.
ruckman.
You got dogged by the subs a little bit. Ben King, Max, your Ben and Max Kings switched around.
What?
They didn't correct it in your column.
Oh,
The sub editors,
oh.
they didn't pick it up.
Ah.
It's okay.
no.
It happens.
It's all right, Max.
Yeah.
All right, Mitchell. Hey, boys, love the pod, but can we start putting West Coast in the Richmond basket and just bullet them every week? They're both shit, and we don't need to try and find positives like Ryan trying to tell us Jack Williams played well in the Derby
Yeah,
when
I'm
he had
with you
8
there.
touches
I'm
and a
with you
goal.
there.
Yeah. We can't
It's
do the
hard to
double.
read too. Yeah, he's a young kid, but he's having 5 touches.
We just got to alternate the weeks. We can't
Fair
do
enough.
We've only got
yeah,
one
you're not allowed to
bullet.
do 2 weeks in a row. All right, Chris. Hello, Rhino, Big Pepsi, and Nick. He's drawn a little tree there, like a little green leaf. First time, long time. Keen to unpack the players played out of position chat a bit further. Maybe the top 10. Personally, I'm in the...
So I just wrote King.
Oh,
And
right.
they added.
And they added the wrong king.
Okay, this is from
Oops.
Chris. First time, long time. Keen to unpack the players played out of position chat a bit further. Maybe the top 10. Personally, I'm in the Fremantle tent, reluctantly, and think Murphy Reid needs more time in the middle. I know it's very early on, but he's clearly one of our best ball users already and would hate to see him be pushed to the outer like some of the other young players in the past, Erasmus, Johnson, etc. Hope the wife's colonoscopy went well, Zave.
All clear on that front, I think.
All clear?
I think
I think leave Murphy Reid.
Yeah.
'Cause he was drafted as a creative forward.
They
as
threw
No,
well.
he's a midfielder.
They threw him in the...
He's playing
No,
forward.
he's a midfielder.
Yeah, he's a midfielder.
So why were all his highlights from doing shit in the forward line?
Because he's so good. He
Yeah.
just goes there and makes shit happen. But also
he-
they're highlights, so...
They gave him a few centre bounces towards the end of the game, right? When it was a foregone
I would happily
conclusion.
see him in there for
He'll be
maybe
there.
3 or 4.
But he's doing so well in this role, and it's a hard role to play, right?
And you're losing. Young is just returned, so he needs to do more. They're so much a better team when Young's
Yeah.
in there. Cab Strong uses the ball, I think, pretty well.
Yeah, pretty well,
Andy
yeah.
pretty well as
Yeah.
well.
And people forget Ben Cousins was a forward for a year. before
Yeah,
he
that's
went
true.
into
One of the
midfield.
rising stars
That's
at
half
forward, I
forward,
think. Yeah. Okay, Josh. Hey, fellas, love the pod. It feels like there is a lot more positivity about the Tigers than West Coast this year. And everyone seems to think they're already ahead of West Coast in the rebuild. I'm not as convinced. The last 2 weeks, West Coast have been the youngest and least experienced team in the competition by some margin, while the Tigers have been the 4th youngest. Granted, the Tigers have shown a tad more promise than West Coast this season, but both teams were horrific on the weekend. In terms of youth, they have Lawler, we have Harley. They have Trainer, we have Jinby. Apart from that, the young talent isn't miles different from what we've seen in the park so far. Thoughts? Also really hoping West Coast bring Null into the team this week. He could be the missing piece we've all been waiting for.
Is he in the NGA? He's an NGA player.
No, but also Richmond aren't playing some of their first round draft picks
Yeah,
from
they
last
got-
year with
they got a
injuries and
stockpile.
whatnot, and they'll do it again this year, which they should. Richmond got lucky. They didn't manage it better than West Coast. They just got lucky that Rioli wanted to leave in a trade, Bolton wanted to leave in a trade,
Baker.
and Baker wanted to leave in a trade. If those 3 players didn't knock on the door and say, I want out, they wouldn't have had the balls to trade them anyway. So
Yeah.
they're lucky.
You need things to fall your way a little bit. James Brown, g'day, boys. Quick question for you. Who do you think has most deserved a Brownlow but not received one
Marcus
in
Bontempelli.
this century?
Marcus Bontempelli.
Pendlebury?
Nah, Bont's been a level.
Bont over Pendlebury? Is that...
Not like in terms of both superstars, but I think Bont was the
You
best
li-
player in
yeah.
the comp at the
You line them
stage.
up together, you're taking Bont.
Pendles was a top 10 in the comp for 10 years.
Yeah.
I think Bont was the best player in the comp.
Okay.
For
I'll throw
5.
Selwood into that conversation too.
Joel was
Talk about Scott Selwood.
$1.80 favourite to win the Brownlow of the year.
Someone else, a teammate won it?
Pritter might have won it.
Maybe that was Pritter.
Was it the Bartel year?
Oh, no, because Ablett was meant to win the Bartel year, and Bartel won.
No, I think Pritter year, because we were going to go over and sit on with Pritter and Shannon Hearn as guests because Joel was going to win it.
Oh.
And we'd been up in Dampier on a trip away, and me and Scooter were absolutely shot by the time we got back. Like, we can't bother going to Melbourne for Joel. And anyway,
He didn't win anyway.
Pritter
won it.
our guest, Pritter and Bunga, Pritter won it, so he would have been on the table with Pritt because his wife was pregnant at the time.
Oh, right.
Yeah, heavily pregnant.
I'm just trying to think of anybody else that I reckon they're the ones.
Um,
they're the 3. Are they?
Joel Selwood, Scott Pendlebury, but Marcus Bontempelli.
Marcus
most of all.
Bontempelli.
Well, Bont's the one.
Bont's the one. But the other 2, you would have,
I guess you could.
Sam Mitchell did
you
win
could-
one.
I mean,
kind of.
he's not in that group, but Petrarca's
what
probably
about-
another one.
What about Joe Watson?
Yeah,
Um,
that's tough.
but yeah, maybe even like a Travis Boak at one stage. I think came second.
Scotty
twice.
West had
He finished
170 Brownlow votes or
Yeah.
something, and which is like the 10th
But it's-
most all time.
But Bontempelli's the answer.
Bontempelli's the answer.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe with Pendlebury.
Bontempelli.
Jalapez, 1996. What are some of the worst trade deals in your opinion? For me, it was Freo back in 2018. They received pick 6 from the Lions for Lachie Neale. They then used pick 6 to get Jesse Hogan. They split pick 5 with Port to get Lobb and Sam Sturt in the draft. Melbourne used pick 6 to get Stephen May from the Suns, which eventually became Ben King, and Port used pick 5 for Rosie. So essentially, Freo could have had Ben King and Connor Rosie.
That's probably worse than the pick 1.
But also, if they just had Jesse Hogan play at Jesse Hogan's level we see now,
It would have been fine.
it would have been great.
It would have also been good. Jeez, that's
Jesse Hogan, credit to him, he owned his time at Freo in a couple of interviews
Yes.
you've heard.
Yeah.
Like, I tip
Yeah.
my hat to Jesse
Yeah.
Hogan and
Yeah.
wish him, and playing bloody good footy now.
yeah, that's
Bloody good football.
That's pretty bad. There's a few good ones over the years.
I think the worst one with Freo is clearly the number 1 draft.
What, Trent Crowe?
Trent Crowe.
Oh, with
But they got McFarlane out of it,
And
which is
McFarlane-
why it's
yeah.
not the worst
No,
fail
it
in the
is.
world.
No, by far it is. You bring in Trent Crowe, went back to Hawthorn. They picked up
Luke
Luke
Hodge
Hodge
and Sam
Mitchell. It's by far the worst.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Okay. M. Piper 10, how is Big Pepsi coping with Pat Voss's suspension?
Upset, emotional.
Lukey Live, can you ask if Nick still costs... Can you ask Nick if a stick still costs $25? Asking for a friend. What do the Eagles?
I do not know.
What do the Eagles do with Duggan? Can you drop a captain?
Yes.
What's happening? This is Riley
I'm
Thomas.
not saying that should happen, but you can certainly drop a captain, yes.
Riley Thomas, what's happening to the Dogs' second halves? Are we following Carlton's lead? Vomit signal. Angus Wright, are Richmond comfortably better than West Coast right now?
Yes.
Better?
We're in a better position.
Well, a better position.
Comfortably better.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Catherine Rosa, leave gather round in Adelaide. First timer from WA. 5 games. Excellent weekend. I agree. Aiden
Having said that, gather round, if I go back, I'm 2 games maybe, or maybe 3 maximum. Really? I'm doing a day at the pub, atmosphere and all that sort. Apparently the pub
Pepsi
atmosphere
Yeah.
was
Don't
epic.
overdo it trying to get to every game.
No,
Yeah, don't worry about
Pace
the games.
yourself.
The Saturdays I'm watching the races, I'm watching the
You
footy.
need
I'm
one night.
in
You need one night of the Pepsi in the Pepsi. bar.
Sometimes people use the games as a badge, and you see them walking around going, I got to 6.
Yeah,
It's like,
no,
mate,
no,
you're
no,
exhausted
no.
yourself.
Get to the pubs.
Okay, let's go to the conspiracies. Here we go. Aaron, the Ryan Daniels versus Tom Morris feud.
Here we go.
Tom Morris is starting to feel the pressure. Footy Rhino's been stealing the spotlight, sharper takes, smoother delivery, and hair that's honestly elite.
Would you agree or disagree on those 3 points?
The hair. Well, the hair's,
the hair's not
yes. synthetic.
Sharper takes, smoother delivery.
How do you feel about delivery v Morris?
Well, I've probably been in TV for longer than he has. So
Say it.
No, I'm not going to say that. It's for you to make a judgment call.
It's sharper takes.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm not really a take
That was
guy.
a longer
Word is, Tommy's so rattled he's become an official ambassador for advanced hair, all in a desperate bid to match Rhino's luscious locks.
Your hair is
Yeah.
good. Like
Yours is real.
You're a reasonably good looking fella.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Where's the
Well,
punchline? Here we
Yeah,
go.
I'm waiting for
Where's
what's
punchline?
coming after this.
No.
The hair's.
No, it's
I've
not-
been lucky with the hair so far.
I think
Yeah, it's
Tommy
going
got
grey.
Tommy
It's-
got the
definitely
plugs.
grey on the sides.
Tommy got the plugs in the off season, didn't
Yeah, I
he?
think
I
openly
think he
did.
actually is doing advanced hair ads.
Yeah,
No,
right.
I-
Oh, really?
I-
Yeah.
openly. I think the sounding board have often
Saw
referred
saw
to it.
Tommy on the weekend.
How'd you go?
Well, it was at
Did you touch
the it was at the Andrew McQualter presser.
Before
Oh.
or after the game?
No, this was training.
Okay.
This was at training.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's
Right, I can go to the, go to the
Sturt,
after
whatever
the game
Sturt's
press.
ground is.
Yeah.
No, it was fine.
Did you talk?
Yeah, shook hands, said hello.
What do you say?
How you going? I said, how you going?
They met on neutral territory.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adelaide.
That's
Yeah.
how I
That's
read
probably
it.
Tom Morris's ground, to be fair.
Well, it's closer to Melbourne.
Yeah.
It was the West Coast Eagles presser, though, so
Yeah,
argue
there
that
you go.
my
You're
territory.
in. Yeah, you're happily there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you welcome him to the presser?
Thanks
Thanks for coming, mate.
Oh, you got the first question.
How do you go with Minnie?
I got the first
get
question.
thanks, Ryan? Or is it just a one-off sort of
No,
environment?
He's not doing that in presser.
You get a
but-
bit of the
but weekly-
Fitzpatrick treatment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He doesn't give you the Fitzpatrick.
You know how important the first question is. At a
Oh, the
presser.
first question in a presser,
Do,
yeah.
do you know what the most important part of a press conference is, and you knobs haven't worked it out?
What?
Actually having a microphone so the people listening to the press
Can hear
conference
the questions?
understand what the question is that's being answered.
It's on the clubs.
It's a lot of me time doing that, walking around with a mic.
No.
Yourself.
No. There should be a microphone somewhere.
Who's going to do that?
The clubs are going to do it if they want to
and
use it for content.
At
What's the
every
clubs?
single press conference after a game, I should be able to hear what
Yeah,
the
but that's
question
not on
is.
us.
That's an AFL.
I know.
That's the
But-
AFL in that
But
case.
you guys will sit there patting each other's on the back going, oh, great question. There's only 4 people that heard it.
Okay, we've got a couple of quick conspiracies. Jim Bob Holder, the Oscar deal is done, and the compo has been agreed to pick after first for the Eagles. Eagles now legally tank by playing the kids. Interesting, Jim Bob. And Nathan, one
Just
last
quickly,
one.
sorry, Nick, I know we're going to go.
Yep.
Nick Rewald's take on West Coast asking for
Oh, yeah.
priority picks or whatever, and Nick's like, they gave away their pick last year. So hang on, how can you argue for priority when you're giving away
It's a bit
three?
more complicated
I
than
know,
that.
I know.
Okay, and last one from Nathan. Got a conspiracy for you boys. The HBF ad with the Quackers came on. Now the voice of the Quacker sounds exactly like Nick. Have I uncovered something?
Do you reckon Nick looks like a
or is it
quokka?
actually you?
Nick
Kind of do look like a human quacker.
You're a human
Because I'm
quokka.
so happy all the time.
Is your voice the quacker in the
No.
HBF ads?
And if it is, I'd want residuals. Have we
Actually,
got,
no, now I
did
can
you
hear it.
grab
Yeah.
I can hear it.
I can't.
Josh, can you insert that somehow?
Oh, nice. Getting a bit of quacker size in. Just trying to get my paws on this HBF deal. Fancy a boost?
Can you
I
find
got to find this
Do you
ad.
remember last year when Tony Armstrong from the ABC was sprung doing
He's doing ads.
The voiceover.
voicing ads?
Really?
Yeah, you're not.
Having said that, if anybody wants the voiceover work done, I'm available.
Yeah, no, especially those ones for the ads you do in this one.
Yeah,
There you go. Yeah, we've
they're-
seen the work. Just
They're convincing.
do a little
They're
best
sharp.
of.
All right, this has been the Hardball Gets AFL show. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again later in the week for the teams. Catch you then.
This episode is brought to you by Woodside Energy, a proud major sponsor of the Fremantle Football Club, supporting local footy from grassroots to greatness.